Assalamu alaikum, students. Uh, Hope you all are fine. This is your facilitator, your tutor for SBL, Strategic Business Leadership. My name is Abdul Basit, and I'm an ACCA member, and I have vast teaching experience along with corporate experience. Right. So we are now going to discuss the SBL. This is basically an orientation session in order to makes you know what is SBL, how to attempt SBL, how to deal with SBL, how to pass SBL, right? So this is orientation session, and I welcome you all in it. Let's just discuss that what is SBL, and then we'll discuss the strategy, the changes which are proposed in the upcoming session, how we are going to deal with those changes, right? The rules of the classes are as simple as that the classes are held live online, right? And along with that, the classes are available on LMS through recording. You can access to both. If you are a student, you can access to both. You can discuss with me, right? If there are any questions for the students, they can always text me on my WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is +92 331 2623849, right? And if the student is sitting in a class, he can ask me through the Zoom chat box, right? There's an option in your menu for the chat, and you can write your question there, and I'll check the chat box after 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll reply to the query, right? And the students, those who are taking the recording of the session, they can text me on WhatsApp whenever they found a question, right? So let's just move to strategic business leadership, that is SBL exam. And let's just discuss that what's SBL and how to attempt that, right? First, you just confirm me that my voice and screen is clear. Yeah. So it's quite confirmed. So let's go ahead, right? Yeah. So basically, today our aim is to cover what we have to cover in today's classes, that we have to understand SBL, right? What is SBL? Along with that, the requirements, what are the important requirements here, right? How to deal with it, right? How we are going to cover the course, right? How we are going to cover the course, right? Changes, we are surely going to discuss the changes from September 23, right? There are some changes supposed to be happen in SBL exam. I'll let you know the previous version of SBL first, and then we'll go to the changes, that now what's the change from June 23 to September 23, right? Then what's the change from June 23 to September 23, right? So what we are going to do in today's class is we need to understand SBL. What is SBL, right? How we are going to deal with it, how we are going to cover the course changes from September 23, right? Strategy for passing. And in last, I'll also let you know what's the strategy to pass SBL exam. And in last, I'll let you know that what's the strategy so that you guys can pass SBL exam, right? So what's the strategy that you guys can pass SBL exam? And again, I would remind you that if you guys have any question, you can either text me on my WhatsApp. I'll write the WhatsApp in the link, and also at the end of the class, I'll let you know, right? So here we go to our first agenda of the class, here we go to our first agenda of the class, and that is to understand SBL, right? That is to understand SBL. So now, what's SBL? See, SBL stands for, you guys know that, you guys must know that, right? Strategic Business Leadership Exam. SBL stands for Strategic Business Leadership Exam, right? And this exam was previously, right? This exam was previously known as in ACCA, right? In ACCA, previously known as it was a merger of two exams, right? It was a merger of two exams, that's P1 and P3. P1 was corporate governance ethics, right? P1 was corporate governance and ethics. Right? P1 was corporate governance and ethics, and P3 was business analysis. P3 was business analysis. So that was your SBL exam in the previous version, right? This change was happened after September 18, right? September 18 was the first attempt of SBL. September 18 was the first attempt of SBL, right? So in order to understand SBL, you guys must know that what was the previous version of SBL, and now what are the differences in that previous version. That previous was, in the previous version there were two exams, P1 and P3, and now it's SBL, right? Strategic Business Leadership. The course is same, more or less. Slight a few topics have been added in SBL, and the first paper of SBL was done in September 18, right? The first paper of SBL was done in September 18, right? Now, let's have a discussion on its about that. You guys should know. You guys should know the about, like, what's SBL. If you are sitting first time and you get to know the first time of to your paper, then you must know, right? What's SBL? So it's basically a 12 to 18 pages. It's basically a 12 to 18 pages case study, right? With annual reports. In this case study, you guys will be given annual reports, right? In this case study, you guys will be given annual reports, articles, right? In this case study, you guys will be given annual reports, articles, CEO comments. Articles can be press articles or any journalist articles, right? Charts, you guys will be given some charts also, right? You guys will be given some tables, right? You guys will be given some minutes with you. You guys will be given some flow charts also. Obviously, all things are not going to be given in one exam, but that's just the part of it, right? That can be tested, right? You guys can be given some presentations. You guys can be given some notes with you, right? Presentations, some supporting notes with you, and etc, right? And etc. So this is a general info of SBL, like what's SBL. So it's a 12 to 18 pages case study, right? So it's a general info of SBL, that what's SBL. So it's an 18 pages case study, which will comprises annual reports, articles, CEO comments, charts, table, minutes, flow charts, presentations, everything, right? Everything will be given here. And now let's go on to the format, right? Now let's just go on to the format of SBL, like what's the format, how it's going to be tested, right? How it's going to be tested, right? So the format is, obviously it's of 100 marks, right? Obviously it's of 100 marks, right? Yeah. So obviously the exam is of 100 marks, right? Exam is of 100 marks, right? And there will be one case study in exam, right? There will be one case study in exam, right? It can comprise 3 to 5 questions, right? It can comprise 3 to 5 questions, right? And its parts. So it could comprise 3 to 5 questions along with its parts, right? 3 to 5 questions along with this parts. And obviously, this case study, is quite similar, to the exam of ACS of ICAEW. If you know ICAEW, it's Institute of Chartered Accountancy of England and Wales. And this case study is not exactly the same, but quite similar to that exam, right? Quite similar to that paper. That paper has another difficulty level, and we are not going to discuss that paper, right? But I'll just refer you that this idea was, I guess, taken from them, right? This idea of case study of merging these papers, was taken from them. So 100 marks, one case study, 3 to 5 questions and their parts, and it's similar to that paper, right? And out of these 100, and out of these 100, and out of these 100, 80 marks are being separate. Out of these hundreds, 80 marks are separate and 20 marks are something else. 80 marks are something else and 20 marks is something else, right? So now what's the breakup of 80 and 20? Obviously, I'll let you know. What's the breakup of 80 and 20? Obviously, I'll let you know. 80 marks are known to be as 80 marks are known to be as the technical skills marks, right? 80 marks are known to be as technical skills marks, right? And 20 marks are known to be as, and 20 marks are known to be as professional skills marks, right? So 80 marks are of technical skills marks and 20 marks are of professional skills marks. And this is a disclaimer that I'm discussing the pre-September 23 attempt format, right? I'm discussing the pre-September 23 attempt format, right? I'll let you know the changes, what are expected in, or what are going to be made in September 23. But now, since it's a orientation, so I'll let you know the both versions, right? I'll let you know the both versions, right? So 80 marks are technical skills marks and 20 marks are professional skills marks, right? In these 80 marks, obviously, you'll be using some theories, which you will be obviously taught, right? You will be using some models, which you will be taught, right? Then you will be doing a drafting, which will be obviously practiced. So 80 technical marks are of theories, models, drafting, and all that, right? But now these professional marks are an art, right? These marks are an art, right? You cannot learn, you can grow these marks within yourself, right? You need to practice to act a professional person in your exam, right? These marks can be taken not by learning or not by incorporating models and all that. These 20 marks can only be obtained if you sound professional. Now that means you have to grow these marks in your, you have to grow these skills basically in you. And obviously, how it is going to be done? So it's going to be done by practice, right? By practice of the scenarios, by practice of the exams. So it's going to be done by practice. So these 20 professional marks are not just an simple marks to be taken. These 20 professional marks are basically You need to earn these marks by practicing yourself. You have to be a sound professional to earn that, right? And what are basically the professional skills? What are basically the professional skills that will be tested? What are the professional skills that are going to be tested? So the professional skills which is going to be tested in your exam, the professional skills which is going to be tested in your exam is analysis skill, right? Is skepticism, right? It's exact skepticism. It's commercial acumen, right? It's communication, right? And it's evaluation. Obviously, we are going to have classes on learning these skills, that how these skills can be incorporated in your blood. We are surely going to be having these classes, right? We are surely going to be having these classes to get these skills in your blood, right? To get these skills in your blood. So analysis, skepticism, commercial acumen, communication, evaluation, these are all the skills which you need to have in order to sound professional and in order to earn 20 professional marks, right? In order to earn 20 professional marks, right? And these skills needs to be demonstrated by the candidate, right? These skills needs to be demonstrated by candidates in exam. So you need to demonstrate these skills. What are these? Analysis, skepticism, commercial acumen, communication, evaluation, right? So 80 marks are technical marks, right? 80 marks are technical marks, which will be awarded by writing theories, models, and all that, right? And 20 marks are professional skills marks, which are just being given to you, which are the bonus marks, right? Which are just being given to you to sound professional, to act professional, to be professional, right? So these are the breakup of 80 and 20. Now, we were in a seminar in which different tutors of SBL were present there, right? So one tutor just asked that I'll make the student practice of these 80 marks. I don't care of these professional marks. I'll make the student practice to these 80 marks, and I'm sure he's going to pass the exam. Like he'll get 50 to 60 marks in SBL, right? In SBL from these 80s. So now the SBL team cleared in that ACCA seminar, the SBL team cleared that without these 20 marks, this is a quote, right? Without these 20 marks, none can get 80 technical marks, right? You cannot get the technical marks for an unprofessional answer. Like if you have not focused on professionalism, you cannot get these 80 marks. If you have not focused on professionalism, you cannot get these 80 marks. So that student has to ensure that he is going for these professional marks, then only he can get these 80 marks. So without considering the professional marks and professional skills, you cannot get any of the technical marks, right? You cannot get any of the technical marks, right? One of my teacher has told me about SBL, that SBL is an project, right? Treat it like a project, right? Treat it like a project. It's a practical paper, right? It's a practical paper. Treat it like a project. It's not the simple paper, right? It's not the simple paper. And since it's a practical paper, it needs practical, it needs practical as well as professional answer. It needs practical as well as professional. answer, since it's a practical paper, right? Since it's a practical paper. One of my tutor has termed it as a practical paper, so I'll also share it with you, right? Obviously, the paper format, the further thing about the paper format can be various tasks will be given. It's not like just one task, right? It will be various tasks will be given to you, right? And will be given from CEO, might be from chairman, might be from HOD, right? They'll be given, might be from HOD, right? Anyone can give you, and can be from manager. And further, your roles also can be, your roles also can be manager, can be HOD, you can be a junior assistant, a senior assistant, right? So that means the task can be given by any of the person, and you can be any of the person, right? If it's just like the chairman has given a task to the manager, the chairman has given a task to the HOD, and HOD has passed it to you, so you are a junior assistant. So any of the person can give you the task, so that will be your audience. If you are reverting back the task, so that person who has given you the task is your audience, right? And you can be a junior assistant, you can be an audit manager, you can be any of the thing, right? You can be any of the thing, right? So here various tasks will be given, and similarly in SBL, various formats, and similarly various formats will be tested, right? So in SBL, you can expect that various formats are going to be tested, right? You can be asked to make a presentation, so you have to make a presentation slide in that, right? You can be asked to make letters, you can be asked to write a letter. We have one question in which the letter was asked, right? You can ask to make reports, you can ask to make a business case, you can be asked to make project initiation document. So you need to be aware, right? So you need to be aware of these, formats, right? And we'll let you know these formats. I'll make you practice on these formats, right? You can be asked to make press releases, right? So any of the thing, any of the person can give you task. You can be any of the person that works in that organization, and sometimes you can be an external consultant, right? And then there can be various formats that are going to be tested, with you. So these are basically that to understand SBL, right? These are basically to understand SBL, right? Then time. Now what's time of SBL? To attempt, I'm again saying I'm talking about the previous version of SBL, that's previously before September 23, right? So time is of 4 hours. So time is of 4 hours, right? In which examiner has given you a breakup that you have to plan 1 hour. Examiner has suggested that plan 1 hour and write 3 hours, right? And 3 hours writing, in which the breakup of examiner is 3 hours writing, right? In which the breakup of examiner is 3 hours writing. So that is the summary of SBL. So I told you that first we need to understand SBL. So now you guys know that SBL is a 12 to 18 pages case study. Similarly, SBL has 100 marks, in which 80 marks are technical marks and 20 marks are professional marks. We have to consider professional marks as important marks, as without those marks, you cannot get 80. Similarly, various formats will be tested, right? Presentation skills, letters, reports, business case, press releases. These all are going to be tested, right? These all are going to be tested. Anyone can give you the task and you can be any person. And time is of 4 hours, and time is of 4 hours, in which 1 hour is of planning. You can write in that 1 hour, right? If you want to write in that 1 hour, you can write, right? If you want to write in that 1 hour, you can write, right? Yeah, obviously it's a CBE exam. Yeah, it's as now in, I guess, majority of the countries, every ACCA exam is CBE. So it's CBE, right? If in your country it's not CBE, so no worries. You have to write it on paper, right? And now the other question that I have written is how to deal with SBL, or I can say how to pass it, right? Now here comes my strategy. Now here comes our strategy. See, it's basically SAB's. My name is Abdul Basit. It's my initial, right? It's basically SAB's approach of SBL. How to deal with SBL, right? So how we are going to deal, right? How my students or anyone who is watching this video, how I am going to suggest you to deal that SBL, right? How I am going to suggest you to deal that SBL, right? See. So firstly, what we have to do, we have to go through, the course outline. We have to go through the course outline, right? That's theory. That's basically the theory of your exam, right? That's basically the theory material. How, sir, there is a question that how we are going to cover that theory. So basically we are going to cover those theoretical topics in classes, right? Basically we are going to cover those theoretical topics in classes, right? There are 8 sections of theory, approx 8 sections, right? I have my made short notes, right? Right? So there is no problem. There are short notes on it, right? So approx around uh, 5 to 10 classes are required, approx 5 to 10, or I'll say in hours that 20 to 25 hours are required to cover that theory. So now one student just asked, sir, if I don't need theoretical classes and I read theory by myself, so is there any problem? No problem, right? The theory has already been taught to you in the previous papers. I'll go through my book. I have my book, right? I've shown here that it's my book, and I'll go through that book, right? So you can have a look on it, right? So you can have a look on it. So it's theory material, 8 sections, short notes I'll be providing in you, and no need to read the book, right? Here, no need to read BPP or Kaplan, right? There's no need of reading the BPP or Kaplan book. You just don't need. I've made the short notes and we are going to go through it, right? I've made the short notes and we are going to go through it. So there's no need to read through it, right? So SAB's approaches, what we have to do, we have to go through the course outline, and that's we have to go through the theory materials. We have to go through 8 sections. We have to go through short notes. It's basically how to pass it, so it will help you in passing. Now, so if I've read the complete theory, how much I am in terms of completion of course, or in terms of passing the exam, how much marks I can get with completing the theory? So you'll only get 5 to 10% marks, right? Like if a person, I'll show you some examiner articles in all of the courses. If there's a person, he has completed theory but haven't practiced the past papers, he cannot pass SBL, right? If you guys don't have the practical skills, the practice you have to do, and if you guys didn't do that, you guys not gonna pass, right? So if you think that after completing those 20-25 hours, you have got immense skills of passing the exam, so that's wrong. You cannot pass SBL by just going through theory. An examiner has stated in its reports, in its articles, and everywhere that some of the students has just attempted the paper like they are writing theories. So the theory not gonna help you in passing the exam. Yeah, it's going to support you in drafting the exam, right? Obviously, it's going to support you in drafting your paper. It's not gonna help you passing the exam. It's going to support you drafting your exam. So that means without theory or without just reading theory, you cannot attempt a full-fledged paper. You must be knowing the theories, what are involved in that, right? You must be knowing the theories, what are involved in that, right? So that's in course outline. That's in course outline, right? And now here we go to the practice. See, what we have to do, if we covered complete theory, we are just 5 to 10% complete, right? So we have to practice, in which maximum past papers are going to be solved by me, and then the rest to be solved by you, and your past papers are going to be checked by my team and myself, so that I can let you know that where are you lacking. In fact, from the past friends on my social media platforms, I always write that anyone from anywhere in the world can send me a paper to check it, and I'll surely check it, right? My team and myself will be involved in checking, and will let you know that what you have to do that. So it's completely clear that in order to pass the exam, you need practice. The practice, right? The practice will help you gaining 90 to 95% marks, right? 90 to 95% marks. The practice will gonna be giving you 90 to 95% marks, right? So now, sir, how you are going to go through the practice, right? How you are going to go through the practice. So now, what we are going to do, or what in my classes you are going to get is, firstly, we are going to do 4 mini mocks, right? Firstly, we are going to do 4 mini mocks. And what are these 4 mini mocks? And what are these 4 mini mocks? See, so firstly, what we are going to do, we are going to do 4 mini mocks, and the 4 mini mocks are of basically BPP. That doesn't mean that you need to buy BPP. Totally not. In my book, the mini mocks are given to you. I've shared the PDFs in my groups also, so no need to worry. So 4 mini mocks need to be here, right? 4 mini mocks need to be here, and you'll the mini-mocks names are Zilber. So first we are going to attempt Zilber. Then we are going to attempt Cheap Kit, right? Then we are going to attempt Cheap Kit. Then we are going to attempt Ling. Then we are going to attempt Domosco, right? So these are the SBL's mini-mocks. Mini-mocks means these are all 50 marks questions, right? So if you guys has covered the theory, if you guys have covered the theory, some of the students don't take theory classes. They just say that we have studied that theory, we'll just go through it and give us the past papers access. So if you want past papers, so first the past paper we are going to do, first the practice question which we are going to do is Zilber. Then we have Cheap Kit, then we have Ling, then we have Domosco, right? So these are the past papers which we are going to attempt. These are the past papers which we are going to attempt, right? On the first section. These are mini mocks. I cannot just let you go on directly on SBL exams, right? You guys will panic, right? You guys will panic in that. So I'll step by step, we'll go on SBL exams. We'll first go to on mini mocks, and then we'll go to on the later stages of SBL, right? So first we are going to go on mini mocks, and then we are going to go on the rest of the papers, right? After these mini mocks, what we are going to do, after these mini mocks, we are going to attempt specimens, right? ACCA have published 3 specimens. ACCA have published 3 specimens, so which we are going to attempt, right? One is DCS, right? So one is DCS, that's specimen 1, and we have another specimen, and then we have Railco, that's in specimen, and then we have Nehebai. These are the specimens which we are going to attempt. Now think of the practice which we are going to do, right? First, we are going to attempt the mini mocks. Obviously, 2 are going to be drafted myself and 2 are going to be discussed by myself, so that you can 2 are going to be drafted by myself and 2 are going to be discussed by myself, so that you guys can go and write and let me send those past papers so that I can check, right? Then we have specimens. Specimen 1 is DCS, specimen 1 is specimen 2 is Railco, specimen 3 is Nehebai, right? Then we have ACCA practice question with myself, right? Then we have ACCA practice question that ACCA has published. That's machine shop. Once we have done the mini mocks, we are going to go on specimens. And once we have done on specimens, we are going to go on the ACCA practice question, right? On machine shop. Fine. In which ACCA has published some student answers, and these are checked, right? So you guys, after attempting machine shop, there are 5 different answers. After attempting machine shop, there are 5 answers that ACCA has published and ACCA have checked that. So you guys can go through those answers and have a look at on what points examiner has given marks and on what points examiner is not giving marks, right? So published student answer are also available of machine shop, and we are going to attempt that question also, right? We are going to attempt that question also, right? After that, what we are going to do, after that, we have ACCA past attempts. Now, sir, what are ACCA past attempts? These are basically the past papers of SBL. And what are they? They are of September 18, the first time that was tested, right? That's co-fold construction. Now, these are the practice material which we have to perform by mutually, right? So that I'll let you solve some questions, then you'll solve some questions and send it to me to get it checked, right? That's September 18. Then we have December 18 highlight, right? Then we have December 18 highlight, right? Then we have along with that, then we have I'll say March, June 19, that's smartware, right? Then we have June, December 19. I don't exactly remember the name. It's, I guess, a name, a chocolate industry question. I don't exactly remember the names, right? I don't exactly remember the names in that, right? Then we have March, June, that's September, December writing, right? Then we have March, June 20, March, June 20, and September, December 20, right? So these are the practice questions that are available to you. These are the practice questions that are available to you, right? Then we have March, June 21, September, December 21, March, June 22, September, December 22. Then we have March, June 23, right? And September, December 23 has not been happened till now, or it will be published later. So these are all the questions, right? And So think of that if we have done theory, we are just 5 to 10% available for the exam, right? But if we have done the practice of these 4 papers, then these 3, then this one, and then all of that, then obviously you guys must have got, after practicing so much, the professional skills. Along with that, you must have got the drafting skills. Along with that, you will be able to know that how to score on professional marks. You will be able to know that how to score on professional marks. So these are all the questions which are available in my book. Here's the book, right? Here's the book. So these are the professional questions which are available in my book, and they will be drafted in exam. Right? So if you guys have understood that how to pass SBL, you must know that in order to pass SBL, you must have practiced many questions. I cannot say that you have to solve all of the questions, right? The students, those who have solved just 3 to 4 questions and have attempted the paper, they have passed. So that doesn't mean, but I'll try to cover maximum questions with you, and then you should do the rest of the new questions in exam time and conditions so that I can check it, right? I can check it. Yeah, one thing to remember, I'll say. One thing which I'll say to remember, just a second. One thing which I'll say to remember is that industry in SBL is important, right? The industry that's been tested is important. We have questions from rail industry, right? We have a question from, I'll say, clothing industry. I'll say the hotel industry or service industry, right? I'll say manufacturing sector, right? Service sector, more specifically chocolates, industry from chocolates, and not-for-profit organization. So if you guys know the industry well, you're obviously going to write well. See, I belong to a manufacturing sector, right? So if you guys want me to draft in an exam about the manufacturing sector, the pros and the cons and everything, so I'll easily draft it, right? I'll easily draft it. So that means the industry in SBL is important. Like if a student is working in a steel industry and he has a question of industry that contains steel in exam, so he's gonna easily draft, right? He knows the industry very well. So if you guys know the maximum industries, obviously in so many exams there are some repetitive industries, there are some new industries, so you guys easily can know the different industry dynamics with you, and you can attempt the paper, right? And you can attempt the paper. I'll just check the chat box. If it's fine, yeah, that's fine. There are still no questions. That's great. Right? Some other points of SBL to let you know, is yeah. Some other point of SBL is to let you know that you can be asked to be a single role in a complete question, right? You can be asked to be a single role in a complete question, or you can be asked to have multiple roles, right? Or you can be asked to have multiple roles, like you can be a manager in one particular question, and then you can be a finance director in one particular question, you can be an assistant in the other question, right? You can be an auditor in the next question. So it depends on your case. We have some cases in which one role is being present. Language is going to be different. The professional, right? Then the auditor will be coming and he has some skepticism skills in it, right? We are surely going to have a skills class. Once we are going to start the past papers, we are surely going to have skills class. Don't worry at all, right? So you can be having a single role, or you can be having a multiple role, or you can be having a multiple role, right? Again, one thing, examiner wants answer to be from different exhibits. Yeah, right? Examiner like if your answer is from different exhibits, you have connected well, right? You have connected well, and demonstrate and demonstrate professional behavior. Your answer demonstrates professional behavior, like where to start, where to end, where's comma, where's full stop. If your answer contains that, that means you have got your examiner, right? You have got your examiner. So, sir, if we need to conclude, right, if we need to conclude to pass SBL, how we are going to do that, right? I'm simply concluding it that spend minimum time on theory, right? And then spend maximum time on practice, right? Get skills, practice in time conditions, exam time conditions, right? Get your answer checked, work on feedback received, and practice again. Of mistakes, and practice again of mistakes. So if you want to pass the SBL, you have to focus less on theory and high on practice. And so for practice, you have these papers to attempt, guys. You have these papers to attempt. We have maximum papers with myself. ACCA have removed it from your website, but I have in my computer these papers. I have solutions of these papers, so we can solve it, guys, with ourselves. We can solve it with ourselves, right? Now again, the tip which I'll give you. So see, we have understood SBL, right? So see, we have understood SBL. We have what's SBL? So that's done. How to deal with it or how to pass it. Strategy of passing has been done. Now changes. Now before changes, I'll give you a drafting tip, right? I'll give you a drafting tip, and that tip is going to be repeated once we are doing some past papers. This is just an orientation session. We are going to do past papers also. So if you are drafting, you need to be aware of your question. Aware of below mentioned data. Get aware of below mentioned data in SBL. Get aware of below mentioned data of SBL. You must be knowing your role in every question, right? In question. Role, you must be aware of the role. You must be aware of the marks. You must be aware of the format, right? You must be aware of the professional skills. You must be aware of your audience, and you must be aware of the points you are going to make. So these are the 6 key terms which you must know, must keep in your mind while attempting the answer, right? If you are drafting an ACCA paper, you must be aware of your role, you must be aware of marks, you must be aware of format, you must be aware of professional skill, audience, and points. How much points to make, right? The length of your answer. And then you have to consider these 6 things in your mind while drafting so that you can lead to an accurate answer, right? Obviously, you might face this or find this as a difficult thing. Obviously, there's you might find this as a difficult thing, but that doesn't mean it's difficult. Once we have practiced all that, right? Once we have practiced minimum specimens and these questions, you will be easily able, guys, you will be easily able to do this, right? Just trust me and trust yourself, right? Now, the last thing of the thing we have written, right? Now, the last thing of our agenda is that changes of SBL from September 23. Now, changes of SBL from September 23, right? Changes of SBL from September 23. Now, what are these changes? Now, what are these changes? Just a second. If you guys should not copy. The PDF is going to be shared with you, right? So you guys should not copy that. If you want to copy, you can click it. If you want screenshot, you can just take a picture. Then rest the PDF, the complete PDF is going to be shared, right? See, now from September 23, the exam is changed. Now, what's that? From September 23, the exam is changed, and that's that it will contain the advanced information, right? That means from September 23, you're going to get advanced information before 2 weeks. Now, see in the first or in the beginning of the session, I told you. Now, see in the beginning of the session, I told you that you will be having it's a paper similar to the case study, and that's of ECS ICAW, right? In ICAW, the advanced information is being given for that paper, and that's approx a month before, right? And that's approx a month before. So that means the ACCA has adopted a similar thing to that, and they'll be giving you some advanced information before 2 weeks of the exam, so that you can be clearer for the industry, you can be clearer for the scenario, you can have a better picture of things, right? You can be familiar with the scenario, right? You can be familiar with the scenario, right? You can be familiar with scenario, you can be familiar with industry, right? So that's the first change that's going to be implemented, right? So that's the first change that's going to be implemented. Then the time, obviously the information is given before. You not need to read many exhibits in exam, because the information is being given before. So the time is going to be 3 hours. So the time is going to be 3 hours and 15 minutes, just like other ACC exams, right? Like if for before it was 4 hours, I told you, and now the time is going to be 3 hours and 15 minutes. Then the other change, which is coming around, it's limited exhibits. Since the data is being given prior to you, since the data is being given prior to you, so there will be limited exhibits in exam, right? Now, one of the student has asked, since data is given advance, so do we need an additional research? So ACCA has cleared that no additional research, no additional research to be done, right? No additional research to be done. No additional research for the data you have been given in an advance to be done. You do not have to Google it, the data. You do not have to research something. You just have to get familiar with the data being given to you, and the rest of the part is going to be given an exam and you have to solve it. And the rest of the part is going to be given an exam and you have to solve it, right? Then there is some compulsory task. Yeah, that's an important thing. That's the major change they have brought up, right? That's compulsory task. Like there will be some compulsory task and you have to attempt those tasks anyhow. If not, that you are not going to pass. If you have not attempted the compulsory task, you are not going to pass the exam. So you have to attempt the compulsory task with yourself. You have to attempt the compulsory task, right? Anyhow attempt it. Anyhow attempt it, right? And the last change is that all skills are going to be tested once, right? All skills are going to be tested once. So now, what's that? In the previous version of SBL, like in the recent attempts, you can check that every skill is not tested. Like they have missed commercial acumen. They have tested skepticism twice or thrice. They have tested commercial acumen thrice in 3 questions, but they have not tested analysis, right? So now they have implemented that in one paper, you can find all 5 skills being tested. Examiner has noted, examiner notes, right? Examiner writes the professional skill which is being tested in that requirement. I'll show you some past papers. Examiner write this, right? So now examiner has given a clear picture that examiner will test every skill. Now every 5 skills needs to be tested, right? Every 5 skills needs to be tested in now upcoming SBL. And there are some no changes, right? That's similar to the previous paper. And these are, you'll be given the same roles, you'll be having the same audience that were in the previous versions of exams, right? And you have to think strategically. And you have to think strategically, right? And you have to think strategically, right? So these are the changes of SBL from September 23. These are the changes of SBL from September 23 you are going to face. So first I told you about the complete SBL. Then I told you how to pass SBL, how to deal with SBL. And then I told you the changes of SBL from September 23. If there are any questions, you guys can text me. Else, we have just a small discussion on the book which I have made for you, and then we can conclude today's orientation session. You guys have five minutes. If you guys want to text me, you have my WhatsApp number. And if you guys want to text on a Zoom class, you just can use the chat box and to tell me. We have 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next agenda of the class. I received one general question on WhatsApp, so I've just replied on that, right? That's not that important, so I've just cleared the student. Yeah. So the last thing which we have for this class is SAB's book. That's my book, right, of SBL, and what that contains. What that contains. Obviously, in next class we are going to have to discuss skills with ourselves, and then we'll have some theory classes and then the past papers. One of the student has asked that if I want to skip the theory and move to past papers, so is it good? Yeah, totally good. If you have read theory, in fact, in my book, if you have read the theory and you want to past papers to be done, you can easily do it, right? No worries, no worries at all. So here's the book. uh Here's the book. Here we have some introductions, right? They have some important topics I have highlighted to revise, right? We have some important topics to highlight. We have summarized models in this book, right? We have summarized models in this book, 5 forces, SPA framework, all that, SFA framework, right? Then we have here the all the important models you need to know. Then we have a summarized right? Then we have a summarized skills, how to act in those skills. Like if examiner has asked you to act as a commercial acumen, right? Draft by using commercial acumen, so you must know what's commercial acumen, skepticism, and I'll have a separate class of skills also, right? So we have I'll just make an index for you. So we have some important topics to revise, from page 2, right? So I'll make an index for you that from page 2, important topics to revise, right? Then page 26, we have skills section, right? From page 26, we have skills section. Then page 28 contains the formats, which I've told you that will be tested, right? So I've just written the formats here. We're going to discuss these formats, right? Then page 28 contains the formats. So page 28 contain the formats, right? Then page 32 contains the theory, the exact theory which is going to be tested, right? The exact theory which is going to be tested, right? So that contains theory. So after that theory, if you know, see, here's the theory, right? Here's the theory. So here from 32 to from 32 to 156, right? From 32 to 156, we have theory here, right? From 32 to 156, we have theory here. And then page 157 again contains skills, right? Page 157 again contains skills. So that's a summarized version of the book, right? Then after that, we have from 163, we have examiner articles, the important examiner articles with yourself, right? From 163, which we are going to read, obviously, there are some important examiner articles, right? So 163 contains examiner articles with you. Then after those articles, And then after those articles, what we have done, I have incorporated the mini mocks here, right? I have incorporated the mini mocks. And after that, I have incorporated my answer of those mini mocks, right? We have examiner answer of that also. And I have incorporated my answer of that mini mock also, right? Then there is other mini mock, and then my answer of that mini mock, right? My answer of that mini mock. So that means I have attached all the practice exams here. So that means I have attached all the practice exam here, which you need to know, right? Which you need to have. I've attached the specimens, and after that specimens, I have attached my answer of that specimens also. And then I have attached my answers of that specimen also, right? So now that means if you guys have this book with yourself, it's around page 180 or 190. We have past papers in it, right? We have past papers with practice questions also, right? Practice questions and my answers, my handwritten answers, right? SAB's answers. So that's my answers being written with you. Right? So that's my book. Obviously, you guys, if you're studying from me, I'll suggest you not to buy anything, just to get this book with yourself, and that's it. That's your complete SBL experience, right? So you'll have this book with you, and I'll share this PDF with you also, right? And I'll share this PDF with you also, so that we can go further. In the next class, our agenda is to discuss skills and then have some theoretical discussions and then go on to the past papers, right? So that's how SBL is going to be done. If there's any question, you guys can text me on WhatsApp. That's +923312623849. It's my WhatsApp number, and you can text me there and ask any of the thing, right? See you all in the next class.